Hello there, welcome to CCTV News. I'm Pandeng in Beijing. The first China-Eurasia Expo has opened in Urumqi, the capital of China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. China's Vice Premier Li Keqiang, Commerce Minister Deng Ming and senior officials from the central government and the autonomous region attended the opening ceremony on Thursday morning. Leaders from several countries, including Pakistan, Kyrgyzstan, Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan, also joined the event. The expo will run through Monday and is expected to attract over 10,000 foreign participants. It's expected to create greater opportunities for promoting trade and investment between the Western Chinese region and Eurasia.
加快向西开放和沿边开放。
China is moving faster on opening its western region and border areas to promote harmony in regional development. It is a significant step forward to deepening the development and cooperation between Asian and European countries. Currently, the world economy has yet to achieve a robust recovery from the impact of the global financial crisis. China would like to work hand in hand with Asian and European countries to conquer difficulties lying ahead by boosting cross-country trade and investment, deepening regional and industrial cooperation, and promoting stability and prosperity within the Asian-European region.
China says the maiden sea trial of the country's refitted aircraft carrier has achieved its objectives. National Defense Ministry spokesperson Yang Yujun told reporters on Wednesday that the carrier has returned to the shipyard and all systems were operating as normal. The vessel, former Soviet aircraft carrier Viger, has been totally refitted for its new role as a research and training platform for the Chinese military. The vessel departed from a port in Dalian, a city in northeast China's Liaoning province, on August 10th. Yang said the Chinese Navy's inshore defense strategy and defensive nature of the country's national defense policy would not change despite the country's development of advanced weaponry. Chinese President Hu Jintao has met with his Philippine counterpart Benigno Aquino, who arrived in Beijing Tuesday night. Aquino's visit aims to improve ties and boost trade. Wu Haojun has the story.
President Hu Jintao hosted a welcome ceremony for Aquino, who's on his first state visit to China since assuming the post of president 14 months ago. President Hu said he believes that Aquino's visit to China, the first of his visits to a non-ASEAN country, will further promote friendship and cooperation between the two nations. He also stressed that the South China Sea disputes should be resolved through peaceful means. Aquino agreed with President Hu's statement. He hopes the visit will serve as an opportunity for the two sides to deepen bilateral ties and friendship existing between the two peoples for centuries. One of the top priorities of Aquino's visit is to boost economic cooperation and investment opportunities. This has been further bolstered by the makeup of his delegation, which includes some 300 business leaders from the Philippines.
China is an economic powerhouse. I now invite the Chinese business community to take part in this opportunity to invest in an emerging economic force in Southeast Asia.
China is currently the third largest trading partner of the Philippines, with total trade value last year hitting nearly $28 billion. Philippine exports to China have more than doubled since January 2009. Last year, China imported goods valued at $16.2 billion from the Philippines. Analysts say China is likely to surpass the United States and Japan to become the Philippines' largest trading partner within 5 years. Wu Haojun, CCTV.
South Korean President Lee Myung-bak has replaced his hardline minister in charge of DPRK policy with a close political confidant. The move appears to show a shift from tough to soft stance after more than a year of troubling tension. Tom Fieron has more.
A former ambassador to China who also served as President Lee Myung-bak's chief of staff, Yu Woo-ik replaces Hyun Lee-taek, whose hardline stance against Pyongyang came under increasingly harsh criticism from the political right and left alike. Yu, one of President Lee's close associates, is expected to pursue a peaceful unification policy and put its ties with Pyongyang back on normal grounds.
The newly appointed Yu Woo-ik, the former ambassador to China, is expected to continue unification policies pursued by the Minister Hun and develop them further.
The incoming Minister Yu is considered a moderate, and his term as Seoul's top envoy to Beijing is believed to have reinforced his conviction that dialogue is needed to bring political stability back to the Korean peninsula. He said on Wednesday he would think of ways to seek greater flexibility in the country's relations with the DPRK. Ties between the two Koreas remain strained after Seoul blamed Pyongyang for 2 attacks last year and an alleged DPRK torpedo attack on a South Korean Navy ship that killed 46 sailors. However, there has been recent glimmers of diplomatic hope on the Korean peninsula. Senior officials from the United States and both Koreas met last month to discuss a possible resumption of long-dormant negotiations on ending the North's nuclear weapons program in return for aid. Tom Viron, CCTV.
Turning to Japan now, the ruling Democratic Party has unveiled its new leadership lineup of 5 officials after Yoshihiko Noda was elected the country's new prime minister. David Keaton has more.
The formation of the new cabinet is due on Friday, and the new prime minister is confident in his new team.
Arrangement of cabinet members is steadily on its way, and we will choose the best ministers to take office. In terms of the appointment of a chief cabinet secretary, we will make that decision.
The leadership shake-up will see Azuma Koshishi, a close ally of the party power broker, Ochiro Ozawa, take the number 2 post as Secretary-General. After the news conference, Noda went to the DPJ headquarters to negotiate the future agenda with the party's acting Secretary-General and former chairman of Jet Affairs, Shinji Terutoko.
It's necessary to negotiate with the opposition parties and establish a cooperation system in the DPJ. Incoming Secretary-General Azuma Koshishi is a senator and he would not likely appear at the meeting of the lower house. I will try my best to do the job. I feel the duty is on my shoulders.
Koshishi has given full support to Terutoko on the party's cooperation system. David Keaton, CCTV.
To Libya now, a rebel commander in Tripoli says Gaddafi's son al-Sadi has called him to negotiate the terms of his own surrender. Rebel commander Abdel Kahim Bahaj says al-Sadi made first contact on Tuesday and asked whether his safety could be guaranteed. Bahaj said al-Sadi told him he had not killed anyone and that he was not against the Libyan people. Al-Sadi apparently called back on Wednesday morning, but that the rebel commander missed a call. He said he knows al-Sadi's whereabouts, but would prefer to negotiate a surrender. Meanwhile, Gaddafi's whereabouts remain unknown 9 days after the rebel capture of Tripoli. Anti-Gaddafi military commanders are attempting to use informants from the deposed leaders in Touraj to track him down. The rebel commander says he believes Gaddafi is either in the Bani Walid area or in his hometown of Sirte.
We are establishing an operation room to gather all the information on the whereabouts of Muammar Gaddafi, and we will take action according to this information. Lots of information is coming to us, and we are dealing with it. We need to verify this information. We think he's outside the capital. This is a very important issue. We've established some groups in the capital to restore security and another department for liberation.
Shortly after the statement from al-Sadi, Saif al-Islam, another son of Gaddafi, urging Gaddafi's forces to continue resistance against the rebels. In an audio tape broadcast on Syrian TV, Saif said he was staying in a Tripoli suburb. He claimed more than 20,000 armed soldiers were ready to fight in Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte, but a rebel commander later dismissed claims by Saif as nonsense. The head of the Tripoli rebels brigade said that rebel forces will fight all remaining Gaddafi forces until they're defeated. The rebels have currently paused their drive to take Sirte, giving defenders until Saturday to surrender. The frontline clashes have continued, prompting a stream of refugees fleeing the besieged town. People in Tripoli are celebrating the Muslim feast of Eid. Tony Chen finds out how the locals are observing their very first festival without Muammar Gaddafi's regime.
At sunrise they came, thousands of the faithful, to a place that was associated with Gaddafi for so long. Now the tricolour of a new Libya hangs over Martyrs Square, and thousands came to pray for Eid. All under the watchful eye of heavy security. Fighters had discovered a car bomb overnight. As the prayers began, a somber mood of reflection. The new government estimates that 50,000 have died in the last 6 months. Thoughts for those who'd passed, paying the ultimate price to change the regime. The battle cry, God is great, almost a whisper, rippling through the crowd. But then the mood changed. This was a victorious day. Libyans free for the first time to celebrate Eid as they pleased. The Imam spoke passionately, thanking NATO and those nations who'd aided in the fight, and nothing but scorn for the former regime.
Our free fighters were so willing to sacrifice their lives for their country, but Gaddafi and his sons are doing everything to preserve their own lives.
Comrades embraced, brothers in arms, and then the crowd rose, reclaiming Martyrs Square as their own. This was Tripoli's victory speech. For the first time in 4 decades, they said, again and again, they were free.
The last speech he gave it from that building. He said, if my people doesn't like me, I should die.
We wait for this day for 42 years. We don't know what's mean freedom. Now we know freedom.
And as the faithful dispersed, more reunions and joy, chanting that they've taken back this city as their own.
Joyous scenes here in Tripoli as Libyans come out to celebrate their first Eid without the rule of Colonel Gaddafi. But the new government faces some enormous challenges. Much of the country is in ruins after 6 months of war, and they still haven't found the man that they were fighting against.
For the moment, though, thoughts of what lies ahead are on hold. Celebrating the end of Ramadan is everyone's priority. The streets are full and the shops open after a tense week of fighting. Fighters from Misrata are still on patrol, but relaxed and easy now. The immediate threat is gone.
We want to say to Gaddafi, game is over. over, and now we are free.
But for many, Eid celebrations bring little joy. The family of Mohammed Yunus al-Muhajir are mourning their fallen son. Having battled his way into Tripoli with the rebels, he was killed before the final victory. Friends and relatives visit to offer condolences and support. His father watches disconsolate from afar.
And I hope my country it will be good, because a lot, because a lot of people die.
And inside, his mother and grandmother still mourning, the pain too fresh to hide. As his brothers fire a salute in his honor, proud that he made the ultimate sacrifice. Tony Cheng, CCTV, Tripoli.
The head of the UN Refugee Agency, Antonio Guterres, has made a rare visit to Somali's capital. He's worried about the dire situation of refugees in the country's south, noting that aid groups are still unable to access many of the 3.6 million people at risk of starvation.
I think it's clear that things are scaling up, but I think it's also clear that the dimension of the problem is out of proportion with what it has been possible to do until now. I think we all need to put together all the efforts that exist, UN efforts, NGOs.
Years of conflict and now a famine sweeping across the south of the country have swollen Mogadishu's population. Poor living conditions and lack of running water have been exacerbated across the city by the influx of refugees. Over 100,000 refugees have arrived over the last 2 months from across southern Somalia, where a devastating drought is biting the hardest. Emergency relief operations across the region have been hampered by the Al-Qaeda-affiliated Al-Shabaab rebels, who have banned Western aid agencies from operating in the area. Drought and famine have killed more than 29,000 children in the past 3 months in southern Somalia alone, and some 12.4 million people